Hi Apple lovers, and welcome to another episode of the Tech Hub. So the new iPhones are here and it's time to choose which one you want to buy. In this video I will give you my thoughts on the choices and explain why I ordered the iPhone 16 Plus. Let's start the episode. So let's start by talking about this year's choices. So we have the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus. The colors available are ultramarine, teal, pink, white and black. I've gone for the ultramarine. As you can see, I'm a fan of blue. The storage options are 128 gigabytes, 256 and 512. They both also come with the A18 chip. Apple also announced the new iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max. The colors available are desert, natural, white or black titanium, with 128 gigs of storage in the smaller option. And they all have 256 gigabytes, 512 or 1 terabyte storage, and they have the A18 Pro chip. So let's talk about the specification of this year's models. The iPhone 16's first, so that's available in 6.1 inch and 6.7 inch. They both have aluminium with the color infused glass back. Obviously the colors are a lot brighter than last year. I hated the pale colors last year, so thank you Apple for listening to the feedback there. The normal models now have the action button that came across from the iPhone Pro of last year. And as I said, they've both got the A18 chip, which has a 6-core CPU and a 5-core GPU. And it also has 16-core neural engine. Now, one of the big features that they're really pushing this year is the new camera control button. Thankfully, they didn't just put it on the Pro like the action button last year. This comes to all models. It's an easier way to capture photos and video. It's faster access to photo and video tools. Now, Apple didn't really talk about it, but they didn't do any upgrades on the front camera. This still is a true depth front camera with 12 megapixels. Now, the big change in the base models this year is the advanced dual camera system. So this is a 48 megapixel Fusion 12 megapixel ultra wide, super high resolution, so you can do 24 megabytes and 48 megabytes. And it has next generation portraits with focus and depth control. It also has macro photography this year on the base models, not just the Pro. Now, the way the cameras are positioned, this now supports spatial photos and videos, and the zooms are 0.5, 1 times and 2 times optical zoom. As for other features worth mentioning, it now has Wi-Fi 7, and of course it has the usual Face ID and Dynamic Island. The battery is also the big change this year. The normal 16 has 22 hours, whereas the Plus has 27 hours. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the specs of the 16 Pros as most of them are the same. So I'm just going to run through the different specs compared to the normal models. So these are both 6.3 inch and 6.9 inch for the Max this year. They both have the action button. It's titanium with textured matte glass back and all those colors available. Obviously desert being the new color this year, and it's not as poo as people expected. It has the A18 Pro chip, which is a 6-core CPU, 6-core GPU, so 1 extra GPU compared to the standard A18, and it's also 16-core neural engine. Now, I also heard today that they've confirmed all phones have 8 gigs of RAM now, which is needed for Apple Intelligence. So again, this has the same front camera as the other one. There's extra frames per second on the Pro. You can go up to 120 frames per second at 4K compared to the normal one. Everything's the same apart from a 48 megapixel macro photography, and you also have Dolby Vision up to 4K 120 frames per second. It does keep the extra zoom that it did last year, which was 5 times zoom. The normal models don't have that one. It also has night mode portraits, and you can record in Pro RAW, which is why I think there's a 1 terabyte available, and really that's what's needed. The only additional thing with the Pro is with slow motion video, that support for 1080p up to 240 frames per second, and 4K Dolby Vision up to 120 frames per second. And one of the new software things is you can actually choose the frame per second after you've recorded the footage, which is great. The only other difference is the studio quality 4-way mic array. However, the new software feature where you can really enhance the audio comes to both models. So really the real difference this year with the Pros is the camera system, and there's also 120 hertz display as always. So for me, the Pro name is now gone towards photographers and videographers. So I was dead set on getting the Pro this year. I then saw the lovely ultramarine blue color, which pretty much sold it to me. And then I compared the specs, and actually, yes, I do photography, I do videography, but honestly, I don't need, it's not worth paying over £1,000 for me for those features. And with what iOS can do with the software now, I have no gripes about any of my photos, any of my videos, and it just was not worth spending that extra money to go for the Pro and the blue color. Did I say that already? I did say that already. So the real difference is with the camera system, and of course the Pro has 120 hertz display. Now for me, yes, my MacBook has that, my iPad has that. However, I've got plenty of devices that don't have it. My iPad mini, my current iPhone 15, and it really doesn't bother me. Yes, it does seem smoother on those devices with it, but for me that's you know, it's not a compromise that I really think is an issue. I don't know if it's because of my eyesight and I'm middle-aged, but ultimately, again, not worth the extra money in my opinion. So let's talk about the pricing this year. The base model 16 is, for the storage capacity of 128 gigabytes, is £799. It's an extra 100, so £899 for the 256 gigabyte model, and £1,099 for the 512 gigabyte model. The Plus is an extra £100 on that, so £899 for 128 gigabytes, £999 for 256 gigabytes, and £1,199 for 512 gigabytes. The Pro model starts at £999, and that's the 128 gigabyte. That is the that 128 gigabyte storage is not available on the Max. So for 256 gigabytes of storage, the normal i16 Pro is £1,099, and then you've got £1,299 for the 512 gig model. There is a 1 terabyte option, which is £1,499. Now, so the pricing of the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the base storage is 256 gigs. Remember, 128 is not available on the Max, and that's starting off at £1,199. For 512, it's £1,399, and then the terabyte is £1,599. So that's the most expensive one this year. So like I said, I had every intention to go Pro this year, but due to the new colors and most of all the new features, like having the extra button on the base model, so the camera button is there, the action button is there. We get 2 new buttons this year. I love that ultramarine color. And then realizing actually, yeah, I'm not a pro photographer and videographer. Or the only things you get extra on those Pro models just really doesn't do it and warrant the extra expense. However, I'm still disappointed I don't have always on display when not charging. I don't tend to charge my phone separately. I do have this wireless stand here, but that's just a magnetic stand. I have my phone there. I don't tend to use it for charging at all. I like to drain my battery so it has good battery health throughout the year. So the fact that I can't have the dock mode always on unless it's charging is still really disappointing. So that is my only gripe with sticking with the base model. Now, I did already get a hold of a case, so straight after the keynote I decided what I was going for. So I ordered the case. This is the ultramarine. Look how bright that is. It's beautiful. Hopefully the camera is really doing it justice. So I literally ordered it after the keynote about 8 p.m. It literally came the next day. So if this color is anything to go on, I'm so excited about the phone. So that's my thoughts on the new iPhones and why I've gone for the iPhone 16 Plus. Let me know what you think. Which phone did you decide on? Has my video helped you decide? Do you disagree with me? Hit me up in the comments. Now, you're probably selling your last phone if you've pre-ordered the phone and when these phones come. Remember, I've got a guide on selling your iPhone on eBay and getting the most money for that. I will link that video at the end of this one. Thank you for watching this episode. Please like this video and subscribe to me. Please also follow me on Instagram and Threads at TechHubWorlds UK, and I'll see you on the next episode.